Alright, I'm jumping right into this. I just woke up, and Pokemon decided to drop the remaining cards of Destined Rivals, aka Glory of Team Rocket. Well, other way around. Um, so, guess I'm gonna get my thoughts on the whole set because it's looking really impactful, which is nice. Anyways, Heatwave Arena. I'm gonna start with the Ethan stuff because Pinsir is right here. 1 point return. I saw this in the Japanese Champions League stream, and it was really good to one-shot Charizard. If Charizard is still a deck, which I think it might be iffy on, especially both builds for a card we're gonna see later. Um, but 1 point return, just 170 on a one prizer is really good. Um, Further down, Ethan's Quilava, not as relevant as I would have hoped, but Typhlosion is. Quilava says search for an Ethan's adventure. Typhlosion does 60 more damage for each adventure in your discard. Typhlosion is a good single press attacker, which I didn't initially think, and like it's seen play in Golden Go, it's seen play with just Ethan decks in general as a big beat stick one prizer, which unfortunately my cargo does not fill that niche. I thought this was going to be the one prize attacker because we've seen Raging Bolt hit 70 for any energy, and 70 by 5 is typically the benchmark. But no, Stage 1 just means it's too inconsistent, I guess. And the way all these Ethan's Pokemon work is Ho-Oh, where if you have like 2 Ho-Oh on bench, you're accelerating 4 energy a turn. Once during your turn, attach up to 2 basic fire energy from your hand to one of your benched Ethan's Pokemon. It doesn't need to target itself, which is good, because you can use this with a card like Fire Off Armarouge, which is what I've been seeing a decent amount, where you attach energy to Ho-Oh and use it similar to basically Quagsire from Dragon Majesty back in Sun and Moon, and you just power up like Regigigas from Prismatic Evolutions, Iron Hands EX, you power up Armarouge EX from I forget what set it's from, but it was also a full art promo, and it's such a powerful attack. Not a powerful attack, powerful ability to accelerate 2 energy to yourself, basically. And you can't get locked out from corner because if you have Armarouge, you just move your energy to the active. Simple as that. Misty Psyduck, not that good. Put it to the bottom, but you discard the top card of your deck, so it's like not. Oh, discard the bottom, you put it on top, so it's not like not recovery. You are trading off. Misty Starmie, 60, 140 if you evolve. It's fine. You only have 6 Misty's Pokemon for Gyarados, and it's not like it's not that consistent because you have to play. You would have to effectively play all 4 to make use of this, which that means you have 24, 23 Pokemon in deck. Well, okay. You have 22 Pokemon in deck because you have the Magikarp and the Gyarados that are powering you up. So you're not hitting that hard because 36% of your deck is Misty's Pokemon. That's also very inconsistent because you need stuff like Mew and Fez to draw. Um, so I don't think Misty is going to be that good, unfortunately. Do we have any more Ethan stuff? Yeah, Ethan Sudowoodo. Attempted Mimicry. Flip a coin if heads, choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon and use it as its attack. And also Corner. Not good. Coin flip. We don't have a way to manipulate it, so it's not all that good. Ethan's Adventure. Search a deck for 3 in any combination of Ethan's Pokemon and basic fire energy. This is actually good in Golden Go. Not just for the Ethan search, but also just to be like, search 3 fire. Which is honestly impressive. And then going back up. Yanmega. I'm just going to go through all this right now. Yanmega, search for 3 grass energy when you move to the active. Jet Cyclone, and then you put. The thought is you Jet Cyclone and you push the energy to a Iron Hands. I can see it. The issue is you die to an Iron Hands that has, like, any kind of modification of 30 or more. So, Defiance Band, you just die to an Iron Hands. Max Belt, you just die to an Iron Hands. I'm skeptical of this because, as much as I want to say, like, Iron Hands isn't good, um, there's a lot of acceleration in the set, and I think Iron Hands is going to come back. Cynthia's Roserade. Your Cynthia's Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Damage buffing on a stage 1. So, remains to be seen. Shaman. Shaman. We have Bench Barrier back. This time it's balanced, though, because it's 80 HP. Can't search it with Buddy Poffin. And importantly, it does not protect Rule Box Pokemon, which is very good because they do not need that kind of support. Also, most of the Rule Boxes have bench protection built in with Terra Rule, so. But cards like Pheasantipity and Mew, you can still bench snipe them, which is really nice. I think this card is actually very balanced and actually very healthy with how it's designed. Dwebble Ascension. We've seen Ascension before. Search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon, put it on, and you are going to evolve into this Crustle, which prevents effects from damage, not effects of attacks. Okay. But yeah, just damage. So there's a lot of wall Pokemon in this format. If you don't have a wall breaker, you are going to struggle. Hydrapple, discard 6 grass energy from your hand to knock out your opponent's active Pokemon. We've seen Goldango do this really effectively. Hydrapple has access to the Festival Lead engine because it evolves from Dipplin. And I believe that it could make a decent rogue deck. Probably not like high meta, but it could help out Festival Lead. Rapidash, Raid Gate, draw a card, probably good for Fire DLC. Aside from that, not too much. The single prize Ogrepons are not that good. They just do like a stock amount of damage. Cynthia's Milotic, 60, 30 to 2 Pokemon. We just saw Shaman. Bench sniping, you need to do something really special to do bench sniping. Float Soul, flip a coin, discard energy, not good. 140, can't attack, not good. Dondozo EX, 10 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. If you can manipulate... Actually, you can manipulate the damage. There's a card later that manipulates damage on board. So you could manipulate this to get all the damage on, have a Bravery Charm attached to get 50 more HP. Also Lively Stadium to get 30 more. There's a way to manipulate this to get so much damage on you. But you have to leave yourself with 10 HP, so I don't know how good it is. Dynamic Dive, 120. You can do 240 if you deal 50 to yourself. So that's also a way to get... excuse me. That's another way to get Tsunami Revenge damage. Electivire, Dual Bolt, not good. High Voltage Press. 280 if you have 5 energy. That's pretty good. Not the worst card. Ethan's Pichu, 30 damage for free. Knocks out Budu. It could be decent. And you draw a card at the same time. So it could be a decent Budu counter. Manectric, not good. Rotom, Gadget Show, it's Tool Drop. There's no way to get more than one tool on each Pokemon, so at most you're doing 180. With Area 0, you're doing 240, but at that point, just play Terrabugos. Zeraora, Thunder Blitz, 210 to one of your opponent's bench EX. We don't have bench protection for Roblox Pokemon, so this is actually really good because you can snipe Pheasantipity, you can snipe Mew. In a Slowking deck, you can use this for the 2 energy of Slowking. In Lightning GLC, it's not good because there's no EXs, unfortunately. I don't know if there's another way to accelerate the 3 Lightning. There's Electric Generator, but do you want to use your generator on energy that's just going to get discarded? Maybe. Cynthia's Gabite, it's the Gabite from Black and White, which searches for a Cynthia's Pokemon. So the thought is you go Board of Gibble, search for one Gabite, that Gabite searches for your other Gabites, and then the following turn, those Gabite search for your Garchomp, which 100 and fill your hand to 6. Pretty good setup attack. Dragon Blaster, 260, discard all energy from this Pokemon. You can attach like a Power Glass, I guess, to make it 1 energy. And if you get like 2 Roserade out, you're one-shotting Dragapult, which is the main goal. So it's not the worst card. Mudsdale, not good. Arvin's Toadscruel. Dragon could be good to stall a Pokemon, but it's just boss 120, 30 to self. Not really. Cynthia's Spiritomb. 10 damage for each damage counter on your bench Cynthia's Pokemon. I'm just gonna skip forward to Cynthia's Power Weight. You get 70 more HP on Pokemon, so yeah, that could actually help with getting more HP on your Pokemon to buff this damage. You also have a like really tanky Pokemon in terms of HP for this attack anyway, not in terms of like actually taking damage. But if you can get like 2 damaged Garchomp and your Roserade like heavily damaged, you're swinging pretty hard. And this card can be really scary in the late game. Arvin's Mabostiff. This card is dark, and I don't mean that in the fact that it's dark type. The best way to power this up is with Pecharunt. If you know the story of Scarlet and Violet, you know why that's messed up. But anyway, Hustle Tackle, if there's no damage counters on it, you do 150, and then you just go into swinging with Boss's Headbutt, which does 210 and can't attack next turn. Honestly, 210 on a dark type is not that bad. We've seen Charizard do 210 after your opponent takes a prize on a stage 2, but that does accelerate to itself. This doesn't have much acceleration. Dark Patch is rotated, Double Turbo rotated, so you're gonna need to like be funny with your acceleration. I mean, you have Crispin, I guess, but there's better targets for Crispin. Tauros, clean hit, evolution 100, that doesn't do too much. Arvin's Greedent, search your deck for, or search your discard. Yeah, put 2 Arvin Sandwich from your discard into your hand. Arvin Sandwich is a potion, but if it's an Arvin's Pokemon, it is effectively a Hyper Potion minus 20. You heal 100. I mean, sure. The Arvin's Pokemon haven't been that good so far, so I don't really see it. Sacred Ash reprint. Terapagos is just Mega Rayquaza at this point, because you shuffle 5 Pokemon from your discard into your deck. Also, Miriam found dead, because this is just Miriam, but without the draw. It's good, honestly. Like, we've seen Super Rod, yeah, that gets back energy, but getting back 5 Pokemon in a deck like Terapagos is really helpful, because you're getting your Pokemon discarded heavily with an Area 0 bump. So I think, if anything, Terapagos is going to play this, so you can recover your cards right away. Switch, Pokemon Catcher, and Judge all get a reprint. They don't get a regulation mark update, which is surprising considering this is new Judge art. So that's good to know. MC's Excitement, draw 2, 3 or fewer prizes, draw 2 more. I would rather play Lacey than MC's Excitement. And we're also in Destined Rivals getting the Stevens and Marnie deck, which are promo decks. I'm not entirely sure if they're in Destined Rivals or if they're in just their own product, but I'm going to go through them just in case. Stevens Claydol, 220. Discard all energy. You have Metagross for acceleration, I guess, but you're only doing 220. You are the opposite of Hops, where instead of doing more damage, you're taking less. So I don't think 220 is going to be enough. Speaking of reducing damage, Carbink, Stone Palace. As long as this Pokemon is on the bench, so unfortunately it does not apply to itself. Each of your Stevens Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks. I mean, I guess it could apply to itself if you have 2 Carbink in play, but why would you? Skarmory, 50 to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. It's not Dugong, unfortunately. Dugong from Unbroken was 60 to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. and it was really good. Metagross, I think you're playing this by itself and not with any other Stevens Pokemon, because search your deck for a basic Psychic and Metal Energy and attach them to your Psychic or Metal Pokemon any way you like. That's not bad. You could play this with, like, Archaludon, but that is 3 Metal, so you're kind of wasting the Psychic attachment. It's not the worst, but it could definitely be better. Energy Recycler reprint is nice. Shuffle 5 energy from your discard to your deck. And then we have Granite Cave, which is another 30 reduction. So all in all, you're taking 60 less. And then if you have like a card like not Assault Vest, Defiant Vest, you're taking 100 less. Marnie, Grimmsnarl has been seen play, which is really interesting. 130 to one of your opponent's benched. I think out of all the Marnie Pokemon, only Grimmsnarl and maybe Morpeko are worth talking about. Morpeko effectively has Hydro Pump but for Dark Energy, and Spikemouth Gym lets you search your deck for a Marnie Pokemon and put it into your hand, which, as a Stadium Bump, pretty good. You're searching for your Energy Acceleration. Aside from that, these other ones are not too good. I guess Sharp Nail could be decent if you can buff up the damage to knock out a Squawk ability, because you're doing 140. So if you can put like a Defiance Band on that, you're knocking out Squawk, but it's a Squawk. Things are easy to knock out. Now, start of the show. Gloria Team Rocket. Okay. The amount of broken cards that we are about to look at need not be understated. Or need not be underestimated, I feel, because we're starting out strong with Rocket Spidops. Hi, it's Naganadel from Lost Thunder. Charge up. Put a basic energy from your discard onto this Pokemon. This will be really good. This will be really good in the future. And in the future, I mean in this review, but like later down the line. Rocket's Moltres, Flame Barrier, 110, take 50 less, not good. Evil Burn, discard a Team Rocket's energy from this Pokemon. If you do, discard your opponent's active and all cards attached to it. You need 3 energy on this, or 2 energy in a counter gain. I guess you could play this from behind. You can get this attack going off in one turn if you go Mela, Rocket's energy, counter gain. So it's not completely bad, I guess, but you're discarding one of your 4 Rocket's energy just to discard your opponent's active and not take a prize. I guess you prevent Fez and get rid of your opponent's threat. So that is pretty good. Also, I forgot to mention Rocket Spidops 30 for each of your Team Rockets Pokemon in play. 180. You're not really playing this with Area 0, so you're like capped at 180, which isn't bad. You're knocking out Charizard. But I think you're just using this for charge up. Rocket's Moltres is pretty good, but I don't think you're going to use Evil Burn all too much. Blaziken, this pairs with the Blaziken EX from Journey Together, where you are accelerating to the Blaziken with a Blaziken. It's like the one from 2006, or like the early 2000s. I don't know exactly when that was. But you do 120, 120 snipe. It's not bad. We've seen Teal Mask Ogerpon, or not Teal Mask, Wellspring Mask Ogerpon, and that does 100, 120. So this could be decent. The only issue is we have Shaman in format now. So that is going to be an interesting card to see if it works. Rocket's Articuno. Prevent all effects of your opponent's Pokemon's attacks done to your basic Team Rocket's Pokemon. So this basically means no Phantom Dive and no Frenzy Gouging. So here's your Dragapult counter for the Rockets deck, which is good because Tarantula has 50 HP. So it can be hit by Dragapult and instantly knocked out. So you don't need to buff this HP. You can just put down Articuno. Your opponent can't do much. Huntail and Gorbis, they work together. Gorbis does 30 damage for each water energy attached, and you Rain Dance energy to itself before you damage. And Huntail just picks those energies back up for the next Gorbis. The only issue is you evolve from Clamperl, so you only have 3 attacks until you need to use Recovery. This deck, I feel, would very much benefit if a Ditto Prism Star-like card would to come back into format, but I heavily doubt that. The Titan EX, this is Primal Groudon EX from Primal Clash. The only unfortunate thing is the Toddle has 100 HP, so you can't Buddy Puff in it, but if you could, honestly, this effect would be pretty broken. Whenever your opponent plays an item or supporter card from their hand, prevent all effects of that card done to this Pokemon. It's Omega Barrier. It's Primal Groudon's Ancient Trait. And there's not really a way to block it that much. You've got... Actually, Fluttermane doesn't even work because it's on the bench. And I don't think any of the Rockets cards revealed blocks the ability itself. But I will correct myself later if I remember, because there are ability locking cards in this set. Anyway, Crush Press, 140, discard Stadium, do 280 instead. Honestly, pretty good, because there's a lot of disruptive stadiums coming into play. You also cleanly one-shot a Mewtwo that does not have a Bravery Charm, so that's pretty good. Rocket Zapdos, move 1 energy from your opponent's active to one of their benched, 30 damage, and then 120 if you have Team Rocket energy for a Lightning double colorless, or Lightning Rocket energy. You're hitting Lightning weakness, so maybe, but I don't see this being in the Team Rockets deck. Rocket's Marie Provision, search an item card, which is pretty good because there's a really broken item card for Team Rocket stuff. If you know, you know. It's been revealed for quite some time now. And Rocket's Ampharos, this is 1/2 of Rocklock from the early 2000s. Whenever your opponent plays a Pokemon from their hand to evolve one of their Pokemon, put 4 damage counters on that Pokemon. And we have TM Devolution in format right now, so... Rocket's Mewtwo. This has the same ability as Magma's Groudon. Power Saver. Can't attack unless you have 4 or more Rocket's Pokemon in play. We don't have Path to the Peak, so you have to play around this. We do have Klefki, though, so if you're up against a Klefki, you can just take a free prize if you're still trying to set up. Rocket's Wobbuffet. Actually, Deletion Sphere. Discard 2 energy from your bench Pokemon. This attack does 60 more damage for each card discarded in this way. So you're doing 280. And this is where Charge Up comes into play, because the strategy is you have 2 to 3 Spidops, you charge up twice, and you discard those 2 energies, and then do it over again. The reason why you have 3 is if your Mewtwo gets knocked out, you go Promote Mewtwo, charge up 3 times, energy switch one of them, attach Team Rocket's energy, and you're swinging right away. Yes, you could use Counter Gain because it's a colorless energy, but I would rather not build a deck when built around being behind, especially for an aggressive attack like this, where you would want to use a damage modifier or HP booster because you have 280 HP. So you would rather play a card like Max Belt to one-shot EXs, Stage 2 EXs that is, or Bravery Charm to put yourself to effectively Stage 2 EX HP. You can boost this. I have found, while it is inconsistent, that you can buff your HP to an effective 500 plus. But you don't have draw cards on board, so it's not that good. Rocket's Wobbuffet, Rocket's Mirror. Move all damage from one of your bench Team Rocket's Pokemon to your opponent's active. Pretty good. If you can find the way to weave it into your attacks. I've tried it out. It's not really that easy to weave in. I'd rather just play something else. Annihilate, Vessel of Rage. If you have 2 more damage counters, you do 120 more damage, so you're doing 280. There's an easy way to power this up. Primeape is also a really good Primeape. You have Dragoff, switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, and do 30 damage to the new active. I think this is probably the better Primeape. Regirock, 140, 280 to Stage 2s, not good. Stage 2s have like 300-ish, and it's for 4 energy, so it's not that good. Rocket Skullbat, Sneaky Bike. This is Phantom Forces Golbat returned. And it is probably going to be as good. We don't have Furry Trade on Zubat though, so that's something to keep an eye on. Put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Not bad. Rocket's Crobat is not Phantom Forces Crobat though. You're doing 2 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. If it was 3, it'd be much better. but 2 to 2 Pokemon isn't too bad. Rocket's Coughing, Smoke Signal. Search your deck for 2 Pokemon with Coughing when you get damaged, and put them onto your bench. Pokemon with Coughing in its name. You don't need to search for Coughing, or Rocket's Coughing, I mean. You can search for normal ones too. And you want to, because Rocket's Wheezing does 40 damage for each Pokemon in play with Coughing or Wheezing in its name. So if you go full bench, you have 7 Pokemon in play with Coughing. Because, assuming Area 0, you have to have a Terra Pokemon. There's unfortunately no Terra Wheezing. So if you do 7 Pokemon, 40 damage, you're doing 280. Pokemon seems to be pushing 280 damage a lot. The only issue with that is, again, you don't have onboard draw, which is really important right now. So you need to take that into account. But it could be decent. Rocket Sneasel, hit the wound, 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, bench Pokemon, for each damage counter already on that Pokemon. So you're tripling damage effectively. Again, we just saw Shaman, so unless we have a bench Roblox Pokemon that we can knock out, this attack was likely going to be prevented, but we'll see. Samazenta, Strong Bash, 70 damage. During your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is damaged, put damage counters on the attacking Pokemon equal to the damage done to this Pokemon, so it's a mirror. 3 energy, and you don't really have a good way to power it up, because Metal Saucer has long since rotated, but maybe, I guess. I'm not entirely sure. Are we missing the... I think we're missing the new cards, but I can go to the, I can go to Blue Sky real quick. Rocket's Persian EX, Arrogant Order, reveal the top 10 cards of your opponent's deck, choose an attack from Pokemon you find there, and use it as an attack. Funny ruling is what happens if you copy a Persian. The order is you shuffle, and then you draw 10 again. So, Rocket's Porygon 2 and Z, Control R, 20 damage for each supporter in your discard with Team Rockets in its name. We have 5 Rocket supporter, so that's pretty decent damage, honestly. But, again, we'll see. Reconstitute, discard 2, draw 1. You're discarding all these Rocket supporters, which, sure, I guess. Rocket's Great Ball, flip a coin, if heads, it's capturing Aroma, if you've been playing recently. Search deck for an evolution, if heads, search deck for a basic, if tails. Obviously Team Rocket's Pokemon, but I don't see this being played unless you have a fair mix of both, which a lot of decks probably don't, unless you're the Crobat deck. Rocket's Venture Bomb. Typically I don't advocate for bans in Standard because not that many cards are broken, they're on a time limit. However, Rocket's Bomb might get banned simply because of its damage on a item you can play turn 1 going first. Flip a coin, if heads, 2 damage on one of your opponent's Pokemon, if tails, 2 damage on your active Pokemon. However, with Monkey Dory, this effectively reads, put 2 damage on one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's weird, it's crazy. Here are the interesting cards. We have Rocket's Receiver. Search deck for a Sporter with Rocket in its name. These 5 are all broken. Ariana. Draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. If all of your Pokemon in play are Rocket, draw until you have 8. That is probably gonna be all the time, because I don't think you're playing a deck with Rocket's Pokemon, or without Rocket's Pokemon, I mean. So it's likely just gonna read draw to 8. Rocket's Archer. If any of your Team Rocket's Pokemon are knocked out, you shuffle your hand into your deck, draw 5, your opponent draws 3. Yeah, each player shuffles their hand into the deck, you draw 5, your opponent draws 3. This actually reads draw 7, effectively. I will show you how later, if I refresh this and the new cards are here. Rocket's Giovanni, switch your active Pokemon with one of your benched. If you do, switch one of your opponent's benched with their active. It's Giovanni. Or, it's not Giovanni, it's Guzma. And we do have a free retreat pivot in Mimikyu, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Petrol, Skyla's back, and she's trans. Search your deck for a trainer, reveal it, put it into your hand. If Rocket's Receiver was not a card, this would be worse than Arven, I feel, but we have Rocket's Receiver, so you're playing like 2 copies of this. Especially now that we've seen like the broken stadiums that this card can fetch out. So we'll see. Rocket's Proton. You can use this card even on your first turn, going first. It's Bridget. Search your deck for 3 basic Team Rockets Pokemon. Reveal them, put them into your hand. The important thing is they're going to your hand. So I don't think there's any from play. Yeah, there's no abilities from play, so that's not as important here, but from hand is better than straight to bench. We also have Team Rocket's Energy, as was mentioned by the Articuno, Zapdos, and Mildras, but also it's your double energy for the deck. This card can only be attached to a Rocket's Pokemon. Discard it if it's attached to anything other than Rocket's Pokemon. As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides 2 in any combination of Psychic and Dark. Here's how you power up your Mewtwo. Here's how you power up your Sneasel. Here's how you power up literally anything with a double colorless energy in Rocket's deck. That is not everything. There were more cards revealed last night, and they got added. Okay. I just had not refreshed the page since then. We have... what else is there? I know there's other stuff, but I'm trying to see if there's any good grass Pokemon. Arboliva EX, may as well mention the EXs. Oil Machine Gun, choose one of your opponent's Pokemon 6 times. You can choose the same Pokemon more than once, and you do 20 damage to each Pokemon. However, you don't apply weakness resistance even to the active. It's 120. And again, we just saw Shaman. So I don't think it's good. We have Arcanine, Punishing Fangs. If your opponent's active is a dark Pokemon, you do 100 more. I mean, there's Roaring Moon, there's Charizard, there's Irvin's Mabustiff, I guess. Dark is a good type, but how are you powering this up? That's always going to be the question. For Fire, double colorless, how are you powering it up? Are you using Crispin, or are you using something else? Rocket Houndoom, Malicious Embers, Burning Confused, Scorching Fire, discard energy from this Pokemon. Decent single prize attacker, I guess, but not the best. The Rotoms are not that good. Abomasnow, 120 if you have 2 or more grass energy attached, which can include this colorless energy. You do 240. So for 5 energy effectively, it's not ideal, unfortunately. Wash Rotom, again, it's just... Oh, wait. So all the Rotoms are tool drop, but you're hitting different weaknesses. Honestly, maybe, now that we've got these new Rotoms, maybe it could be decent. But again, it's double colorless. How are you powering it up? It's not the worst now that it is hitting for all these weaknesses. I'll be blunt to admit that I was wrong on that. Barraskewda, Dive, not that good. Rocket's Hypno, Bench Manipulation. Your opponent flips a coin for each of their bench Pokemon. This attack does 80 damage for each tails. If your opponent's playing an Area 0 deck, this could be really strong. But it's 3 energy. Do you really want to waste one of your Rocket's energy for coin flips? I don't think you want to. Rocket's Chingling. This is the first Chingling in 16 years, and it's a Rocket's Pokemon. Discard random card from your opponent's hand. Hand Control is back. And you're also immune to Dragapult again, because we have the Team Rocket's Articuno. And that is really important for Rocket's Mimikyu. Gem Mimicry. Choose an attack on your opponent's active Terra Pokemon and use it as the effective attack. If you play Clefairy, you're one-shotting Dragapult. If you're playing a pure Rockets deck, you're not playing Clefairy, so you're not one-shotting Dragapult. There's also Wellspring, which does bench sniping. Cornerstone, but you also don't have an ability, so you don't really care about it. What other good? Charizard as a late game knockout. There's Terapagos, but you're only doing 150 because you can't use Area 0. There's a decent amount of... Well, actually for Terapagos, you could copy Crown Opal, but they can just hit you back, unfortunately. Rocket's Orbeetle, as often as you like, you may move 1 damage counter from one of your Team Rocket's Pokemon to another of your Pokemon. Okay, so I was wrong on the Dondozo. The move damage is only Rocket's Pokemon, so unfortunately you have to find a way to manipulate damage with that. But moving your damage around is pretty good. The only issue is it's a stage 2, so we'll see what happens. Rocket's Pupitar. Explosive Awakening. Search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon and put it onto this Pokemon to evolve it. Turn 1, going second. You can go Salvatore into Explosive Awakening and get Tyranitar. Turn 1, going second. Oh god. Sandstream, as long as Pokemon is in the active, which it's going to be, put 2 damage counters on each of your opponent's basic Pokemon during checkup. Combine that with Ampharos and TM Evolution, you have Rocklock returned. So it is not the worst card in the world, but we'll see what happens. Rocket Ekans, flip a coin, if heads, paralysis. Not bad. Paralysis attacks are always decent. Rocket's Arbok, Intimidating Glare. If this Pokemon is your active, your opponent can't play any Pokemon cards with abilities from their hand, excluding Rocket's Pokemon. This is not like Chimecho from the Sun and Moon era, because you can boss around this. The only issue is how are you finding the boss because you can't use your abilities? If you can nest ball a card like Iron Bundle, you can just push it with that. So I could see that being the case. Rocket's Nidoqueen, Love Impact. If you have any bench Pokemon with Nidoking in its name, you do 180, which is not good for a stage 2. Unfortunately, as well, because you're a divergent evolution, you're not evolving from the same Pokemon. Rocket's Nidoking, if your opponent's active is now poisoned during Pokemon checkup, put 8 damage counters on that Pokemon, so 180 effectively. Again, Total Stage 2. Yes, you can power it up with Rocket's Energy, but I don't think it would be worth it. Rocket's Grimer. There was a better translation name. You are already sludged. At the end of your opponent's next turn, discard the defending Pokemon, all cards attached to it. Switch exists. You also have 3 retreat, so you're like getting locked yourself, I feel. So I don't think it's good. Rocket's Muck, Venom Hazard, 100 damage for each special condition, affecting your opponent's active. So you could do Dangerous Laser for Burning Confusion, and Brute Bonnet for Poison. So there's 100. So there's 300 right there. I don't think it's worth it because your ace spec has to be Dangerous Laser. I'm not sure. Rocket's Murkrow, Swindle, search deck for a supporter, reveal it, put it into your hand. I would rather use Mareep to search for the Rocket tool card, or not tool card, Rocket receiver, because I can search for any other item too. Torment those. Choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks. They can't use it. Again, switch. Like, it's easy to get out of that effect. Fortress, not good. Skarmory, not good. Rocket Chatada, poison on a colorless energy. Not the worst attack of the world, I guess. Damage modifier is damage modifier. Rocket's Eradicate, flip 2 coins, both are tails, you knock it yourself out. Sure, I guess. I don't know. Rocket's Meowth, Chingling just does that attack better because it actually discards the card. Yeah, discard random card for opponent's hand. Meowth shoves it back in. We have a Swallow. We're missing... Doesn't this evolve again? I forgot. No, Swallow doesn't evolve twice. I thought it did. Anyway. It's not good. Now, trainers that we just got revealed. Rocket's Intruder Robot. Choose one of your opponent's face-down prize cards and a random card from their hand. Your opponent reveals them. And you can have them switch those revealed cards. What in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Effect is this? Like, I get that it's disruption. If your opponent finds a good, if you find a good card in your opponent's prizes, you're gonna keep it there. If you find a good card in your opponent's hand and a dead card in their prizes, you're gonna switch them. I guess if your opponent's trying like Lucky Chansey, it's an easy way to just disrupt one of those. But I don't think this card is gonna be good despite the amount of text on it. Stadiums. What the hell? I'm gonna start with the factory first. Team Rocket's factory. Once during each player's turn, when that player plays a supporter card with Team Rocket in its name, draw 2 cards. This is what I meant when I said Ariana says, or I didn't say this in the video yet, but Ariana is effectively a GX attack. Because you draw until you have 8 cards in your hand, and then you Rocket's factory, draw until you have 10 cards in hand, basically. This is Eevee and Snorlax's GX attack, but without the damage. Which, what the hell? Also, Rocket's Archer now says draw 7. Rocket's Proton, like, basically, if you're playing the stadium, you add draw 2 cards at the end of the effects. And it's broken. You're playing one of at least. And you can search it out with Petrol at any time. Another one you're playing one of is Rocket's Watchtower. Both colorless Pokemon and have no abilities. Terrabox found dead in Miami. Like, you have to... Okay, Terrabox is not dead, but you have to heavily rework the deck to get past Shaman, to get past Rocket's Watchtower. Like, Wellspring Ogerpon is not a good attacker anymore, and you can't heavily rely on Noctowl to search out your stadiums. You're playing a Colress, for sure now, and you, like, just have to draw into your stadium. You're playing 4 stadiums now. This also means that Slowking EX can be a viable attacker, because the reason why it's not good is because it's being blocked by its ability. You can just play 4 of these and keep swinging with Slowking, or not Slowking, Slacking, and just do 280. You also have Boomerang energy, so you're not discarding an energy off of it. It can make Slacking really good. The only issue is you can't use Pidgeot for that deck because you're shutting it off too. That's another thing. You're shutting off Pidgeot, which is one of the best abilities in the game. So, yeah, this this set is gonna be really interesting. I have the Rockets Mewtwo deck built. I might do a deck profile on that later, but for now, I am very much looking forward to this Team Rocket set because it's honestly looking really, really strong. But for now, I'm looking forward to the Mewtwo deck because it's like, Mewtwo just seems really strong with all these tools. Giovanni is effectively now a switch, or now is just boss, because Mimikyu has free retreat, and you are playing this because the attack is good, and also for the free retreat. So, like, Rocket just seems like not best deck in format, but definitely up there. And I'm very much looking forward to where this is going to go. With that, though, I'm going to end off the video here. These cards are broken, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they end up faring in our format. But, for now, I will see you guys in the next video, which I'm hoping to upload more of, because Pokemon's getting interesting. So, we'll see what happens. Anyways, later.